We're going to continue on with the same file, and we're going to explore the selection bar. The selection bar appears right at the top of your graphical view. And from left to right, we're going to explore these functions. The first one is auto cursor. What auto cursor allows you to do is snap to specific geometry. For example, let's say I was drawing a line and I wanted to snap to the center of a circle. If I select line from the wireframe tab, and I start over here, and I want to snap to the center of this circle, I can go to auto cursor and specifically tell it arc center. And then you'll notice it's only letting me snap to the center of circles. It's not letting me snap to the end point or the separate point here. If you find yourself in a scenario where you constantly have to select the same feature or the same selection here, you can lock that by using the auto cursor lock button right to the left. Now it's always going to stay set to arc center. You simply select it again to unlock it. Additionally, we also have our Fastpoint mode here. By selecting this, you can simply type in whatever coordinate you want and the point will go there. For example, -40, -70 will put a point at x minus 40 and y minus 70. Now for the second point, if I said -80, -100, it places the second point of that line right at that location. Additionally, we have selection settings for the auto cursor. You might have noticed earlier, if I'm simply selecting geometry, it wants to snap to endpoints, midpoints, quadrants, centers, intersections. All of these options are configured right here in your selection settings. And as you can see, most of the options under auto cursor are enabled. As an example, if I wanted to, I could turn on my angular snaps and snap to every 15 degrees. And now by doing so, my geometry wants to snap to every 15 degrees when I'm creating lines, as well as endpoints, midpoints, centers, intersections, and so forth. I'm going to turn off that option because I don't traditionally use that, but you can make additional changes here for the auto cursor. The next few options we have are standard selection and then solid selection modes, including edge selection and face selection. In cases where you initiate a Mastercam function that might apply to solids in addition to other types of entities, you can use these buttons to switch from the default standard selection mode to the solid selection mode. Our selection method determines how you select geometry. Automatic is used by default, and it lets you do many things to select geometry. However, we have things like window and polygon and single, which are different ways of selecting geometry. As an example, window allows you to draw a window around your screen, and whatever is completely enclosed in that window will be selected. I'm going to hit escape to unselect that, but another option would be, instead of window, polygon. Polygon allows me to draw a window style shape, but of whatever exact shape I need. And now you'll notice that all these three pieces of geometry, the circle and the two lines, are selected because they were within that polygon. And the reason everything inside the polygon was selected was because right next to your selection method, you have your selection mode. And by default, it's everything within it. Of course, I could have changed it to out, which means that everything outside of that polygon would have been selected. We also have in plus, which is in and intersecting, or out and intersecting, or just intersecting. Hitting escape again deselects what I currently had selected. The additional tools on the right here include the temporary center point, which creates a temporary center target point for positions after you select geometry. This button is only available when you are in a function that prompts you to pick an origin position. We also have verify selection. This opens a small window where you can cycle through entities in the graphics window until you reach the one that you intend to select. Invert selection reverses any selection. So for example, if you have one item selected, it would deselect that one item and select all the other items. And select last, this reselects the entity or entities selected for the previous operation. This is very useful when performing sequential functions on selected geometry, or when you need to recover from a failed operation. This function ignores entities that are not supported by the current operation or the active selection mask. You'll find yourself using these tools a lot while you're designing inside of Mastercam. If you configure the settings to your liking, you'll find that you'll be very, very efficient at designing and selection inside of Mastercam.